Bringing you the flavor of the Midlands. Live from Columbia, this is Soda City Live.
Welcome back to Soda City Live. August is Wellness Month, a time to celebrate creating or maintaining healthy habits for an overall healthy lifestyle. Today, we're focusing on our mental well-being, and joining us remotely to talk about breaking the stigma of mental health, self-care, and how to build resilience is licensed counselor and clinic director of Ellie Mental Health, Miss Jessica Vance. So glad to have you joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Such a pleasure. So we want to jump right into it. And I know a lot of people, when we talk about the stigma surrounding mental health and seeking a counselor, a lot of people, they have this idea like something has to be wrong or something's wrong. And so it's the mental aspect of talking about mental health that a lot of people struggle with. And so one of the things I also want us to talk about today is, people that are waiting until they're in a crisis to seek professional help.
Right. So it's really important that we realize, first of all, mental health is something, if you are a human being, it's something you all need to be concerned with, right? We all need to take into account our mental health. And the best way to do that is to be proactive. You don't want to go out and get a primary care doctor once you're sick. You want to go ahead and find a good doctor, find a good fit, and be thinking about preventative things, right? So the same can be said for our mental health. You want to be able to talk to others about how you're feeling, the way that you're thinking, and really take into account how those thoughts impact your day to day.
Awesome. And I know, a lot of parents are gearing up to send their kids off to school, and a lot of kids here in the Midlands have already begun going back to school. And for moms of littles that are, new to this and introducing their kids into the school system and having that separation anxiety, what are some things that parents can do and also for their children to kind of prepare them mentally for a new school year?
So get excited about the new school year. As a mom myself, I know each new phase brings about its own new challenges, but also its new adventures, right? So getting excited, talking to your child about some of the things that they're hoping to learn, some of the ways that they want to make new friends, and sharing with them also some of the things that are making you nervous as a parent. For me, I know that being a mom and starting off with my pre-K, I had some concerns about whether or not she was going to notice the difference between daycare and school. And so I talked to her about those differences and what that meant for her and how it impacted her growth. So just be open with your kids and talk to them as well as your peers about what you're feeling.
And, I think that's a great segue into my next question, how to talk about mental health with your kids. And I love the fact that you mentioned your daughter is in pre-K. And so you're starting these conversations while she's young, letting her know, hey, mommy gets nervous too, and creating that open dialogue so that when they become teenagers, you still have that relationship where you can say, hey, if something is not right or if I'm not feeling okay, I know that I can go to my parents to say, hey, I'm not feeling mentally well. And that also is another segue into talking about breaking the stigma. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So a lot of the thoughts and feelings that people have that are negative as far as mental health concerned are really out there, really come from other people's experiences. But important that we tap into like the fact that our thoughts are with us daily. And so ending the stigma just happens when we're having conversations, being here today and being able to have this public forum. Also just like checking in with people, just saying like, how's your heart? How are you feeling? What are your thoughts about today? Especially with our kids, I have a difficult time thinking of the abstract sometimes. And so asking them specific questions. We've all asked our child, how was your day? And it's like, it's good. So asking them, what was your favorite part of today? How did that make you feel? And what are you most excited for next? But conversations are key. And talking about this is what's going to end the stigma for everyone. People firmly believe that if you are doing self-care, it has to be super indulgent It doesn't. What it is taking time out to think about yourself and how your state and impact those around you. And so building that foundation of self-care helps people to build coping skills and basically learn to rebound from things. Every day is a new challenge, is a new obstacle. And just going out and taking note of what makes you feel good, what may trigger some negative emotions, and how to move forward from that.
I love that. We're going to pull up a full screen with some more wellness tips, some mental well-being tips, and you touched on a few of them. You said educate yourself and others about mental health, share your experience. We talked about that as well. Remembering self-care is not selfish, and seeking support and develop coping skills. Let's talk about those two. Seeking support.
Absolutely. So single support looks different for everyone. Of course, as a licensed professional counselor, I would love for people to go out and seek therapy because, again, you don't have to have something wrong. You are dealing with day-to-day challenges, and going to see a counselor and talking about those can really help you to give voice to it, to be able to hear yourself and then work through your own problems. Or, friends, building a mom community, building a dad community, talking to family members. It's very important to build community around these things because shame and guilt cannot live in community. And when you shed light on the things that you're facing, that is, again, what's going to end the stigma and make us a better society.
And all of these points kind of come together. They all really work together. And I was really interested to see coping on that list. And I know people cope with internalized issues in different ways. But when I think of coping, I think primarily of grieving, but that's not necessarily the case. Let's talk about that.
It's not necessarily the case. So the way I look at coping is overcoming and facing. Right. And we live in a world today where mental health and things like coping strategies are all buzzwords, but they're going to look different for everyone. So coping strategies just means having a game plan for how you're going to face your day and how you're going to overcome your obstacles. So for one person, it could be just creating their routine, checking your calendar the day before, knowing what you have to do the day going forward and organizing that. Or for other people, is going to be able to have the flexibility to allow things into that schedule. Use your Googles because Google is our friend sometimes, and just looking up coping strategies that may be best for you.
I love it. Well, Jessica, that's all the time we have here today. I want to thank you so much for sharing these amazing tips and talking about mental well-being today. How can our viewers get in touch with you if they're interested in your services?
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we are actually bringing Ellie Mental Health to Columbia, South Carolina. So please, again, look us up on Google, get scheduled with one of our new clinicians, or you can reach me on Instagram at InVision Counseling, and that's IN Vision Counseling. I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica. We'll have these details on our website, SodaCityLive.com. But in the meantime, be sure to